welcome back to Wheat State Wool. I'm Sarah. Today's tutorial is all about the beginner's guide to the double crochet stitch. Before we get started, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, and click the little bell icon to be notified every time I upload a new video. Let's get into this. For today's stitch, we're going to take a little hint from our half double crochet friend by yarning over first when we go to insert into our work. But there is yet one more step beyond that from the single crochet, which was no yarning over beforehand. Now we have two steps. So I have chained up 10, and in order to work a double crochet, you can chain any number plus 3. The plus 3 is your turning chain. That is the number of chains it would take to reach the height of that stitch. Some people do only a chain 2, and that's cool if you are not going to work into that chain 2. If you are, it might be a little short. But for simplicity, let's just chain 3 because that's the standard way we're going to do that. So I'm going to make 3 extra chains. And then I'm going to skip them and work into the 4th chain from the hook, which is what I'm kind of pinching, but we'll count 1, 2, 3, and then here's the 4th. Now, we yarn over first, just like we did with the half double. And then we insert our hook into the loop. We yarn over and pull up a loop. Does this look familiar? You have 3 loops on the hook. Now here's where the next extra step comes in. We're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through the first loop and the second loop only. Now we have 2 loops left. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And you see that chain 3 is the height of that stitch. So there's our first double, and technically this is also a double. The chain 3 will count. In standard instructions for the double crochet stitch, the chain 3 counts as a stitch. Patterns from other designers, it depends on the designer as to whether that counts or not. But for learning the stitch, the chain 3 counts. So we're going to end up with 11 stitches. Now let's work into our next chain. Remember, we need to yarn over just once, insert into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. You now have 3 loops on your hook. So you're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2, and then yarn over again and pull through the last 2. And now we have worked 2 plus our chain. Here's our next chain. We're going to yarn over, insert into that chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Now we're going to work our next chain. Yarn over, insert into the next chain, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Let's work our next chain. Yarn over, insert into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Let's work our next chain. Yarn over, insert into that next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Next chain, yarn over, insert into the next loop or chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We have 3 more to go. We're going to yarn over, insert in the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now our last chain, yarn over, insert into the last chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And there's our first row. There will be 11 because our chain 3 counts. So counting the chain, there's the top of it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So in order to turn, we need to chain 3 once again. That's our turning chain. 1, 2, 3. And if you've been learning with me thus far, you know I've been telling you to put a stitch marker in the top of your turning chains or your last stitch so you can find it easily and you don't always have to count your rows. However, I do recommend that every so many rows you count to make sure that you didn't accidentally mark the wrong one, and therefore you won't have to frog back as far. So I've chained 3, now I'm going to turn. So I'm going to yarn over, and this is my first gap, but I'm going to skip it. Oh dear, a change. Why do that? Because this counts as your first stitch, so this is already spoken for. And essentially this is coming out of that. So we need to recognize that this is already done. Because we chain 3, this chain 3 takes the place of a double crochet we might have put there. So now we're going into the next available gap. And we're going to insert our hook into there, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's our first 2 double crochets. Now we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch under both loops in the top. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, go into this next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to keep doing that all the way down. Again, don't worry about speed. It's about comfort, control, consistency, those things. You get speed later on. So I'm working my last 2 stitches. This is the last formal stitch here. And then here is the turning chain, and this is the very top. There's 1, 2, and then the third one, which is where the stitch marker is. So you always want to work into the top of your turning chain, which now is right here. Okay, it's right next to this previous stitch. So when you yarn over, go right into the top, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and voila. Now, because we're using the chain 3 as a stitch, it does want to create a little point there, doesn't it? And that's just because it's leaning over that first stitch gap that we skipped over, because this counts as a stitch. If you had put one there, we'd now have 12 stitches, so you don't want to do that. As time goes on with your project, this will straighten out. But until then, it's going to have a little point to it. And that's acceptable. Now, if you really hate that, though, you can chain 2, turn, and work a double crochet right into that first stitch. And then the chain 2 would just be ignored. Now, the problem I have with that is how thick it looks compared to the other one. Granted, it's the side of your work, and it might just make a nice even side and edge. And if you're putting a border on, instead of working over this double crochet, you'd work into around this chain stitch, and it wouldn't like mess up the rest of your work. So there's things to consider. Again, it's always going to depend on the designer, how they write the pattern, but they should tell you in their pattern notes or as the pattern is being worked, how they want you to work your stitches. The main thing you need to know is that the basics are to chain 3, which counts as your stitch, to skip that first one and then start your work into the next stitch. for your double crochets, and then you put your last double crochet on top of the turning chain from the previous row. This is the previous row. This is one below. So I hope that wasn't too confusing for you. Please remember to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the little bell icon to be notified. And let me know, now that you have learned 3 stitches plus the chain, what now is your favorite? Single, half double, or double? Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious. I still like the half double. The next lesson is going to be all about that triple crochet, and I will see you there. Bye-bye.